Hello, hi Ryan. Uh,
How are you?
I'm fine. Nice to see you again. So
Yes, very good.
yes, so today, we're going to have a discussion with Ryan O'Keefe. Let me tell you, probably many people in Australia know who is Ryan O'Keefe. Ryan O'Keefe was a former professional footballer. He played for 15 years. Am I right? Almost 15 years
Yeah.
with the Sydney Swans for the Australian Football League, and he was a fantastic player. Here I read on Wikipedia is one of the very best for in terms of ground coverage and many other. A terrific left foot kicker. So you have been a super athlete, very successful in your career. uh, just let me tell who I am. I'm a professor of medicine and nutrition, the Leonard P. Ullman Chair of Translational Metabolic Health at the University of Sydney, and the director of the longevity program at Charles Perkins Center and a clinical academic at the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. And I've been studying basically aging and healthy aging nutrition for the last 25 years. So now we're going to start the discussion with Ryan about an important topic. The important topic is it true that we necessarily need animal protein, animal food to be healthy, fit, strong, and being, for example, a competitive athlete? So, if is it true or is it just a legend? And Ryan is going to tell us, his experience as a super successful professional football player. So it's a very strong and very, very demanding and high contact sport. And so tell us about your story, Ryan, about this legend, this urban legend, this myth.
Yeah, well, thank you for the warm introduction. Yeah, I played 15 years at the highest level for Australian football, and I was lucky enough to be quite successful. Winning two premierships as well, and reaching the ultimate goal in my professional sporting career. Probably one thing too that I was doing while I was playing. I also studied sports science, and I was big in nutrition. And I think for my career it was much longer than the average, well above the average. I think like the average career is only around that 5 to 6 years.
So
So
normally on average, someone like for a professional footballer plays for 5, 6, 7 years at the most, and
yep,
you basically
yeah.
play
So
twice, basically 15 years of successful career. So you doubled the lifespan of your career.
yes, definitely. Like generally, like the gold medal standard is if you get to 10 years, that's pretty fantastic at that high elite level. So, but I attribute that to the way I prepared and my lifestyle. I really, as a professional athlete, it was a lifestyle to me, and everything that encompasses that in terms of nutrition, sleep, doing the right training to build my body up strong. I really prided myself on being one of the fittest in the competition. A high level of running, but I suppose the physiology of an Australian rules footballer compared to, say, a rugby player or a soccer player or a cyclist or a swimmer is that it's very physically demanding in terms of, as a midfielder, you'd run between, say, 14 to 20 kilometers in a game. So you're almost doing a half marathon every week, but that's at high intensity. Plus you got tackling. So, I'd be playing, I'm about 188 centimeters, and you'd be playing around, that 88, 89, 90 kilograms. So you had to have quite a lot of muscular bulk, especially in your shoulders and core. So obviously we do a lot of gym work as well to be strong with the tackles. And it's more to be strong in the tackles and the contest, but also injury prevention. So yeah, we train every day, and then you play, and then recovery. So it's a 24/7 hour job, and if you talk to most professional athletes, the amount of training and preparation that goes into your body is huge. You're always thinking of it. And the most important thing, and maybe I was a little bit ahead of my game when I started, I knew that nutrition and the fuel you put in your body was as important as anything, is as important as going to the gym and pumping iron or going for that run or doing a bike session, everything like that. So I just started out, my background is a typical, white Australian, the meat and free veg, pretty normal or standard for.
But you told me, when we had dinner, you were raised in a farm, so basically.
Yeah, my dad's from dairy farmers. So my dad's a dairy. His dad's my grandfather had a big dairy farm down in southwest Victoria. My uncle.
When you were a kid, you were eating a lot of dairy, a lot of meat, and like the
and
Australian Western.
Yeah, a lot of that dairy, like it comes straight out of the vat, and you have the milk, and we'd be having a Milo or whatever it might be.
And it's interesting, you told me during the dinner that basically you started to eat more vegetables and to stay away from animal products during your career. When it happened?
Yeah, so to start my career, I was just eating normal like I'd just grown up because I didn't know any better. But it started, as an athlete, you're always looking for what's the edge, what's the best, what's the cutting sort of, technology or sports science. And I started studying nutrition at university. I sort of started looking more at the diet and the fuels putting in. So I remember reading an article about some European soccer players, how the back half of the week they would pretty much go vegetarian because meats and animal product very hard to digest, and for us, for a lot of running, you want to be strong, but you want to be light, and you just didn't want to feel bloated or anything like that. So probably early on in my career, I just said, all right, I started, the back end of the week, I got rid of, meats, and particularly red meat. And that was the first thing I cut out of my diet, pretty much, was red meat. And I started feeling good, started feeling better. And then as sort of the years went on, I started getting rid of chicken, and I started getting rid of seafood. And then probably the last things I was left was eggs, cheese, and yogurt. Anyway, I just kept feeling good and had no detrimental effects. I was still strong, and towards the end of my career, when in my mid-30s, I was still as fit as I felt young. I felt like I was in my 20s, and I felt, this is good. So I sort of made decision towards the end of my career that's it.
So
I want to get rid of all animal product.
Because at the end of your career, basically, you were already playing for 15 years. And so your colleagues, they were already out of shape, out of the game, because they were past, so you were one of the oldest probably playing, and you were eating more and more plant-based food. And we're going to discuss about that, because I think we have to divide vegetarians from healthy plant-based food.
And my plan, but and I've been like pretty much 5 years of pure 100% whole food plant-based diet. So I'm not a vegan that eats has the fake meats and the junk food and stuff like that. It's from as close to the source, whole food, as Mother Nature intended it, and that's pretty much been my diet. And when I retired from playing football, I'm a very keen cyclist, and I've kept training nearly every day. I pretty much nearly ride 6 days a week.
After you finish to play professionally, you are still basically exercising every day. What is more or less your training routine?
Yep. So my training routine now is I'll 5:30 every morning, and I'll probably do minimum 2 hours riding in the morning. On the weekends, it's a bigger ride. We're looking at 3 to 4 hours, or sometimes we do a big one if we've got a big ride, which might be 150, 200k ride. Obviously, it's pushing out at 5-6 hours. mark, and then also do resistance training, a lot of bodywork stuff and
How many
band
times
work.
a week?
And I'll
Every
probably
day?
do that. Yeah, I'll still probably try to do that 4 times a week, just to keep good body structure and that.
You do
And
half an
then
hour,
if I
1 hour?
can, no, I'll probably keep that more only down to about half an hour. I'll pretty much just do all the stuff I need to do, and now there's no chit chat when I do it.
And basically,
And then I'll fit a couple of runs in a week as well.
Good. Let's state that. So this is your routine, basically a couple of hours every day of cycling, half an hour, 4 times a week of resistance exercise, weightlifting, and then during the weekend you do more than 2 hours, probably 3-4 hours of biking.
Yep.
And this is on a totally plant-based diet. So there is no animal products whatsoever. So again, just to tell everybody that, maybe, yes, Ryan is a special human being, but Ryan can perform at high levels without any problems in fitness. And, probably for your age, you are super fit, you are competitive. If you go biking with anybody else, you're gonna.
And I'm not, it's not social riding either. The group I ride with, most of them are racers, some ex-professionals, guys, young guys, in their 20s trying to push up to the, world tour, the NRS, which is like the pro Conti level here. That's the bunch I ride with. I'm not riding with the old grandpas just doing laps of Centennial Park. I'm with it's serious riding. And
I'm a bit scared, because we decided, we're going to go to bike together with our friend. I'm a bit scared, because I bike half an hour, one hour every day. But, I think, it's going to be difficult to compete with you. It's going to be terrible. But anyway, so again, let's restate this concept. Guys, the idea that you absolutely need animal or food proteins, to build up your muscle and to be strong and fit is not true.
Not true.
Ryan and me are examples that that's not true.
Yeah.
And, there are philosophical, you can be vegetarian for ethical reasons. And, we're going to discuss about it, because when I was in US, I was studying people who were vegetarians, vegans, for ethical reasons, and they were eating awful diets, a lot of refined carbohydrates, soda, and very bad oils, these trans or partially hydrogenated fats, all these refined, and they were as sick as those on a typical American diet. Yeah. So again, it's not animal protein, yes or not, or yes, it's the quality of food. And Ryan has done a deep research in understanding what is, and that's what I like, when we're discussing at dinner, you tell me, look, I don't like to be called vegetarian. I'm someone who is a healthy, minimally processed, plant-based diet with exercise and mindfulness. So it's a complete lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's also trying to preserve the environment. So, selecting pesticide-free organic food, that is to take care of the environment. It's not just me, it's, my context, to be a human being that is in harmony with the environment and try to eat the best food is available. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. And so my purpose, or the reason I went down this path, was performance. I wanted to be as healthy and perform as best as I can. So that was my angle. It wasn't initially the animal welfare or the environmental part of it. It was more for me, probably selfishly, what's the best performance? What's the best for me to be able to live longer, to how to perform at a high level at age. I'm in my 40s now, and to still be able to compete with the 20-year-olds and wake up in the morning and bounce out of bed and feel good and recover. That was the whole purpose of it. But then when you get into that initially, then you start thinking about more than yourself and outside, about all the environmental impact of the way we eat as we consume food as a human society. And then then you start looking at, well, where does even the plant-based food come, and what farming methods, and how's that affecting the land, and what chemicals and pesticides So I was purely for performance. And then when you get in there, then you discover it's a much bigger picture and be a whole lot more holistic.
Yeah, and basically you're not taking medications, so you're not polluting the environment by excreting medications, and you're healthy, and you're still very, very fit. And again, your career was twice as long as the typical career of an athlete that is consuming a typical Western diet, and you were probably also recovering better from
And that's the main thing. What I did notice, I remember early on in my career, like after a big week of training or game, you get out of bed and everything was sore and everything after a heavy training load. Now I don't know. As I said, like I get out of bed and I'm fine. I get up. I said I do about nearly 450, 500 kilometers a week. That's the training load just on the bike I do, plus some running and resistance work. And I seem to be able to bounce to get up next day and be able to do it. And that's purely 100% plant-based whole food diet.
Yeah. And so how do you cope with vitamin B12, because as you know, there are some nutrients that are not part of the vegetable food, and the most important probably is vitamin B12. So you are, of course, selecting food, or you are taking supplements to substitute for B12.
I am not taking supplements for that, and I've had all my blood checks and all my levels are absolutely perfect. But I try and select foods that might try and contain that, some fortified,
Yeast.
Nutritional yeasts, just stuff like that. So I'm mindful of it, but I haven't noticed. I don't know. I just haven't felt I've been.
No. But you are doing exactly. So that's the message. You can be a super healthy vegetarian, but you need to know where you're gonna get the nutrients that are poor in a purely plant-based. So the limiting factors are definitely vitamin B12. Iron is not true, because you can find iron in many vegetables. You have just to use lemon and to increase the bioavailability. Similarly for zinc. Of course, there are certain kids that are growing and women that are pregnant or they are breastfeeding. You have to be careful, because you need the extra iron, you need extra B12, and so they have to be followed by people who knows where you can find. But I have friends in US who have been competing the Ironman, have been vegans for most of their life, and their kids have been raised as vegetarians, but they are super knowledgeable. They know where to get all the nutrients from supplemented foods like yeast or other ones, where you can find your calcium, your iron, your B12, your zinc, those factors that, if you don't know what you need to do, you may become deficient. But on the other side, if you are on a typical Western diet, even if you have your iron, B12, but then you have all these extra calories, all this extra junk food, it's leading to the epidemic of obesity, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and cancer that are typical of our day. So,
well, that's the thing. I find if I was a bit low in iron, for example, or a vitamin, my body will eventually tell me, and I can do something about it straight away. But if I go, okay, I'm going to worry about my iron, but I'm going to have high cholesterol, high saturated fat, high animal fat diet, then all the the cholesterol and all the plaque build up in my, that's not reversible overnight. I can take a zinc supplement or an iron supplement or a B12 supplement, and pretty much within that week I'm good and I'm right. I'm back on my levels. But I'd rather be deficient in that and then high in the bad stuff, which is very hard to reverse.
Yeah, no, I agree. We agree. I think it's not to be, again, I like you because it's not being vegetarian or paleo or keto. Is designing a lifestyle that is mechanism based, so is informed by the best evidence, and select the best nutrition for the body and for the mind, so people can stay healthy for a long time and enjoy their life when they are 50, 60s. They still be able to bike and run and explore the world without being dependent of many medications, without becoming frail and maybe demented. And the science, the research that I'm doing, other people are doing, are fully supporting what you are doing.
Yeah.
With one problem, quality of diet is important, but the balance between calories and physical activity is also important. Because you can be, you can, I don't know, 1 tablespoon of olive oil is 120 calories. So if you are, I don't know, using 10 tablespoons of olive oil per day on top of your food, this is an extra 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
So if you don't exercise, these 1,200 calories of a healthy dressing is going to make you obese.
Yeah.
So you have to be
And,
careful.
and I think this lifestyle too, or you can adapt at any time in your life stage. I think people can get stuck at, oh, I've been this way, it's too late. I'll tell you a story about my father. So my father, relatively healthy, cycles and being active. He played football up to his 30s as well in local level. Rides his bike. He works manual labour. He eats reasonably, healthy. If you looked at his diet, it's not junk food or anything like that. He had a stroke a couple of years ago, and
how old was he?
he was 61 when he
God,
had
pretty young.
had a stroke.
It was a bad stroke or a minor one?
Not too bad. He was in hospital, and it wasn't because his diet was that bad. He did have a valve
Problem.
yeah, the thing. But what it did do to him, it made him really upset because he worked with people that smoke and ate really bad junk food and drank all the time. And he goes, "Oh, I think I live a healthy life. What's going on?" Anyway, he inquired. He knew what I did, how I ate, and he asked about it, inquired about it, and from then he changed his diet. He's pretty much gone plant-based as well. Now, he used to have arthritis in his hands and elbow and hip from working and all stuff like that. Like he'd get out of bed and he'd be sore. He doesn't have that anymore, and he keeps every day. He goes, "Oh, Ryan, I'm amazed." And I keep sending him podcasts and information and research papers on the evidence and stuff that what you're doing. He goes, "I just can't. It's amazing how I just don't have arthritis. I can get up. My joints don't hurt. I've got more energy." So that's a real life example of someone that changed something in their 60s and the benefit they've had, and he feels amazing for it.
Yeah, of course. This can be just anecdotal. So basically, as you hear people, they tell you, I've been on a ketogenic diet or on a paleo diet, and now I'm fantastically healthy. But again, the point of this discussion is not that. Is that here we are talking with a professional athlete that is still an athlete, because someone who is biking 2 hours a day plus 6 hours during the weekend and exercise is still an athlete, and he's consuming no animal products. Again, so that's the point of this discussion. If someone tells you that without animal food you're going to become weak and you're gonna become frail and you're gonna fall apart and you're not gonna able to exercise, that's a lie. And Ryan O'Keefe is a fantastic example of someone who has been exercising for the last 20, 25 years, 15 years, basically at high competitive level, and super healthy and super successful in his career. And that's what I think is the important message for people who are considering to change their lifestyle, but they have these bad knowledge, these idea that that they've been told again and again and again, animal products are necessary, otherwise, yes, you're gonna become weak, you're gonna lose muscle mass, you're gonna just be able to you're gonna become frail, because you're losing
and
muscle mass.
as I said, that's I've been living it. I've been living it for over 5 years. There's purely no animal product at all. And from my experience, I'm as fit, as strong as I have been in my 20s. I compete with these young guys still, and people, protein and your vitamins. It has not affected me at all, and I actually feel better for it. And I wish I did it a lot earlier. And that's just going how I feel and my experience. So, yeah, you're not going to shrivel away into a shrinking violet at all. You'll still be just as strong and healthier. And the most important thing is you recover. I believe you recover a lot better, so you can do more training.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. So you want to add something else, or?
The advice, and I get a lot of people inquire like that I train with and ride with now, or even players that I used to play with just ask me. I don't force things on people, tell people what I do. They know, and then they get a bit inquisitive, and I just tell them, and I just say, just start small. Just don't think you have to go fully cold turkey. Just start small and give up one thing. The first thing I would say for people to give up is dairy. I reckon that's the first thing. If you can give away that first, and then just slowly just see how you feel after it. And if you think you feel good, well, maybe, okay, let's keep removing. And then eventually, and that's what I did, it was a staged process. You just go, okay, I feel good, and you don't miss it. I don't crave anything. People go, oh, don't you crave a big steak or something? No, I don't. Like, your body adapts and changes, and you don't feel like it anymore. It's winter months, I'm craving some roasted sweet potato or something like that. But so that's the advice I give people who want to try. Just try, just start, stage thing, give away one thing, and then you can only know how you feel. I can't tell you how other people feel, but that's just the way it's worked for me, and I will continue to do that.
Yeah, and again, basically the science, we are doing is totally supporting what you are saying, and there are more and more data coming out showing that that excessive protein intake, especially brain chain amino acid and sulfur amino acid, that are very rich in animal products, are activating these pro-aging, pro-cancer pathways called mTOR. So mTOR is a sensors of energy and these amino acids. And when you have excess of these amino acids, you are activating this pathway that is promoting aging and cancer and the accumulation of molecular damage. So again, the science is fully supporting what we are saying and what you are doing. So it's in line with what we know, and so it's just there is a strong scientific background to support what we are saying. Fantastic. So I'm looking forward. We have to organize finally to go out for a mountain bike ride one of these days.
Yep.
Maybe this weekend we're gonna talk with our friend and see if we can organize and go, but don't don't
Take it easy. All good.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.